Ah. Get out of here. We're not talking about you today. Actually, let me borrow you for a second. Really quick before the video starts, I wanted to say I did a dub for this guy, Buffa, in Kamen Rider Geats. Small fan of to be used as an audition, but the support blew me away. It's been really nice seeing people see that they enjoyed the absolute best of what I could do. I did another version that had a friend in it, Sim. He's pretty cool. He's trying to get into voice acting. Check him out. I wanted to really quickly, before we talk about how great Ultraman is, I wanted to thanks for the support on some Kamen Rider stuff. Drivers. The set piece of the titular Kamen Rider. Tokusatsu is a pretty big genre, and a lot of people ask, hey, how far does it go? A lot of people within the community understand that Power Rangers comes from Super Sentai, and that's usually the way people get into it, but then they discover a whole world of stuff. Space Sheriff Gavin, Dogengers, Armored Hero if you're lucky, watch that one, that's really good, and Kamen Rider, but there's another one that's still pretty big, and that one is what we're talking about today. There we go. Get that one in there too. Last of the big three is, of course, Ultraman. And that's where today's video starts. So, you want to get into Ultraman. Maybe you saw the Shin Ultraman poster and said, hey, I'd like to know where that came from. Maybe you saw that Shin Ultraman has no ass whatsoever and said, hey, what is up with that? I kind of want to know what's going on. No matter what, the important thing is you want to get into Ultraman, and that's pretty great. People often say it's hard to get into Ultraman, but it's actually not that hard. Sure, there's a lot of shows. The show's been going on for about 56 years now. We're just now coming into Ultraman Decker, which honestly has been pretty good. So if you're watching this video, I'll just flat out recommend Decker to you, no problem. But this isn't about me. This is about you. You want to find the Ultraman show that's right for you. It could be a fan favorite like Jeed, or Zet, or even Orb. And while these shows are great, Ultraman is never one size fits all. It's important to find the show that speaks to you. And that's where we come to our first point. On first glance, Ultraman might seem kind of overwhelming, even overly complex, and that's totally fine to think that. That's why choosing your first Ultra series should always be kept simple. Who looks the coolest? The easiest way to tell if an Ultra speaks to you is whether or not you like their design. Maybe you like Taiga's horns. Maybe you think Orb's color timer is really cool. Maybe you've seen some of X's armors and think, hey, I kind of want to watch that. And that's honestly a great reason to watch X. Look at those funky little space headphones. He's a funky little space headphone boy. But maybe what you're looking for is a straight up recommendation. So let's go through what you're looking for and try to find you an Ultra show. So you'd like a recommendation. Well, what are you looking for? Maybe you're looking for an abundant series with lots of amazing characters, heartfelt moments, and incredible dynamic. In that case, my recommendation for you is Ultraman Orb. Maybe you want to see a really cool coming-of-age story with wicked visuals, some of the best suit design, and the most lovable main character. I love him so much! Then you're probably looking for Jeed. Maybe you'd like to watch a group of really cool guys try to save a planet based on the fact that one guy passed a vibe check. Yeah, that's kinda it. Then you're looking for Ultraman Taiga. Ultraman Taiga is a lot of people's favorite, or even simply enjoyable. That's because Ultraman Taiga does Legacy really well. Taiga specifically ties into a lot of Ultra themes that I think that we're probably going to touch on later, but boy is it fun to watch. Genuinely no downside to watching such a fun show. Not to mention it's got some insert themes that go absolutely ham. So if you're looking to pick up a pretty fun Ultra show and you can actually find the episodes, give Taiga a shot. The cast will blow you away. There's no one like the Tri-Squad. You might be asking yourself a pretty specific question. Hey, All these guys look pretty flashy, and I'm used to all Ultraman looking kind of the same. That's because these are new generation Ultramen. Everyone from Ginga to Zed are part of the new generation category, which I personally pretty much enjoy. All of my recommendations are probably going to be new generation, and I'll probably have a video on older generation Ultras when I get around to watching some. I'm really excited to see like the TDG stuff. A lot of these Ultras I've mentioned and shown you might seem to have a kind of similar theme. That theme being like, they kind of look like two Ultras mashed together, sometimes three. And that's because some of them are. Some shows feature incredibly detailed fusion mechanics, Orb, Jeed, and Zed being the biggest players in this category. I personally believe this is where a lot of people think Ultraman gets confusing. The legacy. When you start throwing a bunch of Ultras on screen that you've never seen before, it can be a lot to handle. Having watched Jeed essentially as my first Ultraman show, I was really confused when Ultraman like Zero even showed up, let alone when he started throwing Leo and 7 together. Why is he 7? Why isn't he Ultraman 7? He's just Ultra 7. What's up with that? All of this is to say that Ultraman is an incredibly expansive series. No matter what you watch, even if you watch the original, you're bound to be at least a little confused. And in a lot of ways, that's part of the fun, part of the charm. Discovering a whole new world of entertainment via a silly show about a giant man fighting a monster. Kinda cool. For me personally, Ultraman's cameos and fusion gimmicks never felt like who is that? It was always like a, whoa, who's that? It's kind of opening the door to me to try to figure out who they are, like seeing the X Metal in Ultraman Z, or seeing the monster capsules in Ultraman Jeed. Jeed had some of the most stellar kaijus I've ever seen, and that's another thing. Kaijus also make an Ultra. When most people think kaiju, they think the big bad man Godzilla, or maybe like Orochi or Scuttler from Pacific Rim. But I personally think about a lot of various Ultraman kaiju that are pretty cool and pretty important, honestly. Kaiju are another thing that make Ultraman incredibly special. Monsters like Zeton, Budoton, King are all super original and super unique to Ultraman. Where else are you going to see the savior of humanity essentially square up against a giant interdimensional dog toy? Probably nowhere. Kaiju design is handled really well in Ultraman and makes it really sparkle. Sure, the titular Ultraman is really important to the show, it's called Ultraman, but the kaiju that they fight is also really important. It really helps bring everything together. They have to be engaging and threatening and really make you feel like they're almost grounded in reality, but definitely not. And that's why it's so important to find kaiju that also speak to you. For me, monsters like Zeton they're really fun to watch fight Ultraman. From the sounds they make to the choreography, it all comes together. And when they're fighting an Ultraman I really like, it's genuinely always a good time. When Zeton throws down with Taiga, I know it's going to be cool because Taiga's there, Titus is probably there, and of course, Big Papa himself, Zeton, is there. Because I like the kaiju and I like the Ultraman. Granted, these things aren't always super easy to predict. Any kaiju could show up in any show, especially an airing series or one you're not familiar with. But again, that's kind of part of the fun. You never know what monster you're going to get watched to beat down, or maybe even what monster is going to beat your favorite Ultraman. Ultraman as a show does a really good job to keep its viewers on their toes. Lots of fights can go either way and leave you on the edge of your seat, especially finale fights. We don't talk about Grieza. Ugh. All in all, deciding on what Ultra series you want to watch should come down to 3 things: Ultraman design, kaiju design, and the vibe you get. Watch your first Ultraman show for you, not for anyone else. Make sure you're choosing an Ultra that interests you, with some cool fights that you maybe picked up on, and hopefully a really banger theme song. The music also makes Ultraman pretty great. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. This is my first YouTube video, and I'm really happy it could be on Ultraman, and also technically a cooking video, something I've always wanted to do. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know. I'm not really concerned about likes or comments, but I'd appreciate some feedback if you could give it. Also, I would really appreciate you telling me some of your favorite fights, some of your favorite Ultra moments, and maybe just your favorite Ultraman in general. Be sure to follow the Twitter in my description if you want to maybe see me live tweet editing a video, or catch me on live stream every now and again, because I do stream on Twitch and it is a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helped you find your Ultraman. Whether it be Taiga, Taro, or Ginga, I hope you enjoy. Also, I hope my video didn't make you too hungry. Just do yourself a favor if you watch Ultraman Taiga. Don't fall in love with Titus.